This week in Jamaica Now, problems with a kiss. Outrage as two high school girls are expelled for allegedly caught kissing each other. Government ordered to pay Vybz Kartel's legal fees for his successful appeal to the Privy Council. Paula Llewellyn has stepped aside as Jamaica's Director of Public Prosecutions. And Jamaica announces its recognition of Palestine as a state. I'm Jovan Johnson and this is Jamaica Now. The expulsion of two high school girls seen kissing in a video sparked public outrage this week. St. James High School took action against the girls on January 16 after the WhatsApp video emerged. The mothers of the girls have chastised the institution and saved some of their harshest criticisms for Principal Joseph Williams. One mother said since the incident her daughter has not talked about the incident and has generally refused to engage with the family. Her daughter remains out of school. The mother of the second girl accused Principal Williams of being heavy-handed in expelling the girls over what she described as a youthful lapse in judgment. Her daughter has since been placed at a private institution. Principal Williams has not commented on the matter publicly. There are also concerns that the processes for expulsion in the law were not followed, as the parents said they were never engaged and simply told that their daughters could no longer attend the school. The Education Ministry is probing the incident. Meanwhile, human rights group Jamaicans for Justice has called for the immediate reinstatement of the girls at St. James High School. Executive Director Michael Jackson said the school acted improperly.
The incident at St. James High School again calls us to question the arbitrary use and abuse of power and authority by some school leadership around how school conduct and disciplinary actions ought to be dealt with. The fact that you have a board that was never meeting for at least 7 months from the media reports that we have heard of here at JFJ is also concerning to us, because it means that administrative and governance oversight that is there to temper the principal and the principal's authority ensures that administrative proceedings and procedures are being adhered to in line with the established principles. That board was not meeting. So from what we have gathered, you have a principal that has been acting contrary to establish protocols, regulations, and quite frankly, the law here. It is also troubling to us that based on the parents' accounts, the parents had actually gone to the ministry's regional body and to no avail.
A security guard employed to the King Alarm security firm attempted to rape a 9-year-old girl at the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies, where he was stationed this week. He has since been charged with assault. The security guard has been removed from the university campus. The incident reportedly happened on Monday, minutes after 2 p.m., when the child was on her way to visit a relative on the university campus. Passers-by reportedly heard the child screaming and went to investigate. The guard is said to be in his 20s. The Gleaner visited the area on Wednesday, where maintenance work was taking place to reduce the bushes in the pedestrian-only area. The police have charged the 14-year-old Irwin High School student for the fatal stabbing of his 15-year-old schoolmate Raniel Plummer during an altercation. His court date is being finalized. The police report that Plummer and a schoolmate had an altercation while at the St. James-based school on April 17. Plummer was reportedly approached at the school gate by the accused, along with a group of boys who reportedly attacked him. The police say during the squabble a knife was brought into play and was used to stab Plummer in the chest.
Raniel is a very quiet person, friendly, helpful. He doesn't talk a lot. And he loves football and loves riding bicycle.
You ever mentioned you get bullied at school?
No. He said to me early on this year, said that he wanted to move from Irwin.
You never told him why you wanted to move?
No. I told him that September coming, I will move him because I already paid the school fee, $10,500. So September, I will move him. And the other day I asked him, because I was here them talking about bullying at school and stuff, and I asked him if anybody is bullying him at school, and he said no. But maybe he didn't want to tell me, because he don't love to make complaint. And I don't know why somebody would want to kill my son, take away my son from me. Stab me son in my heart. One stab in my heart. That means he may want to kill my son. Because the only way you stab someone in the heart is when you want to kill them.
And gang violence within the community of Grange Hill, Westmoreland has left a grade 10 schoolboy, 16-year-old Carson Bennett, dead and his female schoolmate of Grange Hill High School hospitalized. The two were shot on their way from their school's sports day on Thursday. The police believe the boy was the target. Head of the Westmoreland Police, Superintendent Othniel Dobson, says their investigations are pointing them to the ongoing gang conflict between the Kings Valley Gang and the Ants Posse Gang. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has condemned the incident. The Jamaican government is to pay the legal fees for entertainer Vybz Kartel and his 3 co-accused who won their appeal against their murder convictions at the Privy Council last month. The Privy Council, which is based in the United Kingdom, is Jamaica's final court of appeal. King Charles, who is Jamaica's head of state, signed the Privy Council's order on April 10, just under a month after the Privy Council overturned the men's convictions. The King's approval is a required formality. Jamaica's Court of Appeal will hear arguments on whether Vybz Kartel, Sean Storm Campbell, Andre St. John and Kahira Jones should be retried for murder next month. The hearing is set for 5 days starting on June 10. They were convicted in 2014 for the murder of Clive Lizard Williams in 2011. But the Privy Council said the convictions were unsafe because of juror misconduct. Kartel and his co-accused denied any involvement in the killing of Mr. Williams. Speaker of the House of Representatives Juliet Holness has bowed to public pressure and released opinions from the Attorney General's chambers on how reports from the Integrity Commission and the Auditor General's Department should be treated. Mrs. Holness, who took over as Speaker in September 2023, and her predecessor Marissa Dalrymple Philibert, argued that the long-standing practice of tabling reports from the IC and the Auditor General as soon as they were sent to Parliament was in breach of the law. In November, Speaker Holness announced a new rule that certain Auditor General reports, special reports on public bodies, would have to wait 2 months before being tabled and released to the public. The period would allow the minister responsible time to respond. And the Speaker ruled that certain reports from the Integrity Commission, Jamaica's primary anti-corruption body, would have to go to an oversight committee first before being tabled. However, the Attorney General's chambers said that the original practice was not against the law or the rules of the Parliament. And in tabling the opinions, Mrs. Holness reinstated the old practice, but had this to say.
As Speaker, my ultimate duty is to ensure clarity and full understanding by the Jamaican people in public affairs. Regardless of my ruling and the differing legal perspective provided as it relates to reports of the Auditor General, they have all been tabled, and I will continue to table the reports accordingly to previously established practice for the time being. Nevertheless, in the interest of good governance, I urge this House and strongly urge this House to act quickly to review the relevant legislation to remove any ambiguity or gaps in the process.
Meanwhile, Speaker Holness paid tribute to former clerk to the Houses of Parliament, Valrie Curtis, who retired amid controversy earlier this month. Mrs. Holness accused the clerk in a March letter of gross dereliction of duty and bringing the Parliament into disrepute over the handling of reports submitted by the Auditor General. Ms. Curtis rejected the claims. The letter, which was shared with 62 MPs, was issued while Ms. Curtis was on leave. Mrs. Holness said it was to be placed on her file. On Tuesday, though, Mrs. Holness did not apologize as requested by the opposition, but she offered an explanation.
Our differences in perspectives on a particular administrative matter and the resulting procedural communication to her, which was never placed on our HR record, but which has unfortunately been circulated in the public domain, was never intended to distract from her years of service and valuable contribution to the Parliament. Therefore, it is important for me to state that I continue to hold the retired clerk in high regard and acknowledge her contribution and not allow that to be overshadowed for any reason.
Ms. Curtis was not at Gordon House for the tribute, as she is said to be traveling. Prime Minister Andrew Holness agreed with the opposition for an event to be hosted in her honor.
I would ask the leader of government business to collaborate with the leader of opposition business to ensure that that special event can be arranged and that the entire Parliament members and staff could have that done in short order as well. as soon as the clerk is available. The clerk has given yeoman's service. Nobody questions that. And I think all of us have a personal connection and relation with the clerk. I certainly do. I've known her for more than 20 odd years. And I think we can all agree that what has transpired in the public domain is indeed unfortunate.
Government MP Robert Morgan has resigned as the head of the Public Relations Committee of the ruling Jamaica Labour Party. He remains the Minister of Information. Former mayors Delroy Williams and Charles Sinclair are new Deputy General Secretaries. Cabinet Minister Darrell Vaz is now Treasurer. Senior Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions DPP Claudette Thompson has been appointed acting DPP, replacing Paula Llewellyn, who has stepped aside over a controversial court ruling. The Constitutional Court ruled on April 19 that an extension of Ms. Llewellyn's tenure last September was unconstitutional. The government first said Ms. Llewellyn was not affected, but the opposition accused it of not observing the law. On Sunday, the Attorney General's chambers announced that because of ambiguity with the ruling, Ms. Llewellyn advised that she could not perform the duties of DPP at this time. That cleared the way for Ms. Thompson to be appointed for 6 months. The government has filed an appeal. The Jamaican Bar Association has called for clarification on Ms. Llewellyn's status. Her attorney, King's Counsel Douglas Lays, has since said she has not resigned, but just not in office. Jamaica this week announced its recognition of Palestine as a state. Foreign Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith says Cabinet approved the move on Monday. Jamaica joins more than 140 United Nations member states that have recognized the state of Palestine. Mrs. Johnson-Smith says that the decision was based on Jamaica's concerns regarding the war in Gaza and the ever-deepening humanitarian crisis. Jamaica, which supports a two-state solution in the Israeli-Palestinian historic conflict, has been criticized for not being aggressive enough in condemning Israel over the latest war. Former Jamaican Deputy Permanent Representative to the United Nations, Baron Blake, commended the Holness administration, but said the action will have implications for the cooperative relations Jamaica has enjoyed with Israel since the 1960s. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner, and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on your notification, and subscribe today. I'm Jovan Johnson, and before we go, Education Minister Vybz Williams this week announced a new philosophy for education in Jamaica in Parliament. Here's what she said.
The philosophy of education for Jamaica begins with the words, under God. So under God, the Jamaican education system embraces diverse learning capacities and styles, aiming to nurture each learner's full potential through partnerships. We provide a comprehensive education blending academic, technical, and vocational pursuits with values-based teachings and life skills. Our focus is on fostering community harmony, appreciating our cultural heritage, promoting inclusivity, environmental stewardship, and respect for all. It regards highly competent and responsive educators who exemplify decorum and national values. Through this approach, and in pursuit of sustainable development, we aim to cultivate learners' understanding of themselves and love for country as embodied in our national vision, anthem, and pledge.